We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Welcome to the Money Tree Show, where we bring you high-level multifamily investors as well as industry-leading experts. We tease out the skills they've acquired, the habits, and the mindset they've developed to make them ultra-successful in the real estate space. It is our goal to give you the knowledge you need to either start your multifamily journey or expand your current portfolio. Whether you're an active investor or looking for a passive investment to supplement your income, this is the podcast for you.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Money Tree Show. Today, we have our guest host, Bill Murray. Bill, how are you today?
Doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me as the guest host today. Appreciate it.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm excited for today's episode. Today, we have Maurice Philogene. Maurice's incredible career, former executive for Accenture, a special agent with the Air Force. He spent 15 years as a Maryland police officer. But here's the thing that I think is so exciting. I think there's something we'll really enjoy in today's show. Maurice has built an amazing real estate portfolio of 2,100 apartments across the U.S. And he also works as a real estate developer in the Mediterranean. Maurice, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, brother. Good to be here. Nice to see you, Bill.
You as well.
Maurice, let's jump in. Share a little bit about your background, your life journey, and what took you to where you are today.
Yeah, well, like you two amazing people. I grew up in the Boston area, Boston/New Hampshire, if you will. But born in New York, raised in Boston. Got to DC through University of Virginia, and kind of been posted up here ever since. So it was '97. Like you gave in the introduction, my professional career nowadays is an anomaly. I stayed with the same employers my whole life. So at age 21, I was hired by Accenture, which was back then it was called Anderson Consulting, but Accenture. I retired from them after 25 years in late 2021. I did ROTC in college. That's how I paid for school. Went into the Air Force, decided to stay, got recruited to be a special agent. So I was a federal agent and retired as lieutenant colonel in 2019. And that was some fun stuff. And in 2008, as a means to give back to local community, I had a real urge to become a street cop. It's a long story how it all happened, but I found a way through an amazing woman who I worked for at Accenture to do it both at the same time. So I was a street cop for 15 years at night in Maryland, just on the DC border. And I retired from that in late 2021 too. And then the journey that you're alluding to is I found real estate when I was 21 through reading a couple of different books, went on a single family journey for the sake of financial freedom. It was not because I was trying to be the rich dude or anything like that. It's just that I wanted to control my time. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just kept following what the books were telling me. And I got there in 2014. You quickly realize when your basic needs are covered that life is not about money. You need challenges. So I switched from single family to multifamily, bought a couple mobile home communities. Now I syndicate apartment complexes, started an investment firm, and we've done about $200 million worth of real estate in the last 3 years. And just on the side, I started developing real estate in the Mediterranean as well, more from a lifestyle perspective. And I got 2 kids, good family. My family's a Haitian immigrant family, so it's been a interesting journey.
Dude, that's incredible. Talk about a journey. I mean, balancing all of those things at the same time. You're someone who clearly can manage your time incredibly well. What are some of the tips and tricks you use to manage your time so effectively?
I tell people I got very good. Well, first of all, you have to have a good family. You can't do shit by yourself. It just doesn't work like that. You know, everything from my kids to my girlfriend to my mother and father, they were very tolerant of what I was doing, and it wasn't easy. And I don't think I realized it at the time, but I realized it in reflection. So that's the first thing. My family was very tolerant of what I was doing. But the thing I got good at over the years was learning how to create time and protect time. I post about it quite a bit. Yeah. When I say creating time, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. has always been my prime time. Thank you, U.S. military. 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., that's 4 hours. I was working on the side hustle. I was working out. But primarily in the 2000s and early 2010s, it was real estate. 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., that's 4 hours. That's 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month, 960 hours a year. That's 5.71 weeks that you've created. If you add another 4-hour block on a Saturday and a Sunday, you're talking about 2 full months of time you've created. So I tell people I've created I know how to do a 14-month year. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. No, I think people have time. What people don't have is commitment to self. If you want it, you'll get up. I still get up at 4 a.m. nowadays. I'm just used to it. I'm just older, so I take my butt to bed after Noah, my little one, goes to bed at 8:30. There's no reason for me to be awake. So from a time management perspective, that's it. And then when I was doing all the corporate stuff during the day, police stuff at night, like I would literally be running burglary calls. And when the call was done, I would go back to the station, sit in my car and do real estate stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like if you really want it, you will create it. Don't tell me you don't have time if Elon Musk is running 30 companies. He's finding a way. So there's something out there that people are doing. People can create and protect time. It's important.
Talk about dropping some bombs there. You mentioned that from 2008 to 2014, you created a single family. By investing in single families, you created financial freedom for yourself, which allowed you to get out of whatever you're working on. You work on passion projects, work on things that excited you. It truly, if you start looking at your time, start looking at your day, how are you using it? Where are you getting that time from? You could truly find opportunity. I'm an early morning guy too. I'm a 4 a.m.er. I'm part of that 4 a.m. club. I know, Bill, you're up.
I've been switching to 5:30. You guys are gonna have to get me back to 4 a.m. again now. 4-hour time block in there.
1% of the world is awake at 4 a.m. And your results, Maurice, really speak for themselves, right? You have 1% results as a result of, discipline. It came down to discipline.
I mean, I think so. I mean, discipline. I wasn't really. I was alluding to this before we started recording. I didn't do this to like. I'm gonna burn the boats. I'm gonna hustle. It was never that. It was. I'll tell you what it was, and that I'm only figuring out in reflection. When I was 15, I started to travel. My father sent me to France on a 30-day trip with an exchange student who had stayed with me the previous summer. Think inner city Boston kid roaming around France in an old stick shift Range Rover at age 15 in 1990. It opened my eyes to like the world has a lot to offer. You don't have to sit on a stoop and drink a 40. You don't have to be an NFL player if you don't want to, although I try. That all those emotions I had as a kid on that trip sparked something. And what it sparked was, now this is in reflection. I wasn't realizing this when this was happening. What it sparked was I want to plug into life and plan it as intended. But how do you do that when you have to work a 9 to 5 every day and you have responsibilities and you got to go run these errands and all that? You know how you do it? You invest.
Yeah.
You create streams of income. The income is not about having money. The income is about having control of your time. So everybody thinks you need $20 million or whatever their number is to be free. That's bull. What you need is enough passive income that covers your monthly expenses and just a bit more on top of it. So then you have control of your time. And then when you have control of your time, you can go start doing all the passion things that you want. Being available for your kids, being the soccer mom you've always wanted to be. It doesn't have to do all the travel stuff that I do. That's not the point. The point is you have time to do the things in life that you wanted. That was the benefit of real estate. So when I started on that single family journey, that was my perspective. I wanted to go back to France. I wanted to have those experiences. So I bought a place, bought another place, started paying them off, took paychecks, saved it, stored it, sold a place, stored that, bought another place, got up to 35, sold some, paid off 18. And then you had 160 grand of passive income in 2014. So that was the moment I kind of realized like, ooh, I did something. Right. And but to bolster my point, if I had that 160 of passive income, why don't you leave work? I never left work because I enjoyed being a street cop. I enjoyed being in the military. I enjoyed being a corporate executive because I had broader goals. That's what I'm saying. People think life is about money. Life's not about money at all. So anyways, my point is I didn't go on that single family journey for like this money chase or something. I went on that single family journey such that I could live better. And I'm not saying I have it perfect, but I have my time. And I was playing football with my son this morning at the bus stop before he got on the bus because I have time. So I did something decent. I'm not perfect on other fronts, but on that front, I got it right.
For me, that journey that resonates so well with my journey. When I had my first child, my daughter, I was like, I want to spend my time the way I please. And
Right.
what that meant for me was being that coach, being there when my kid got off to school. And I was, I had a good finance job. Corporate America was climbing that corporate ladder, making some good money, that kind of thing, all these things. But I knew that as I continued to climb that ladder, I was going to lose my time.
Yeah.
When I think about freedom, I think about it from three perspectives: geographic freedom, the ability to go travel, live anywhere;
Mm-hmm.
time freedom,
Mm-hmm.
wake up, be able to use my time how I see best during that day; and then financial freedom, which enables all three of or the other two things. And that is the element of freedom. We chase after this idea of freedom. That's what we're looking for. Your time, your terms.
That's exactly it. And the geographic freedom probably matters the most to me. I like being around the planet, probably to a fault. I virtualize my mail. When I started Quattro Capital with my partners, I told them, I don't want no employees. I don't want to be in an office. I don't want my name on the side of a building. I don't want any brick and mortar. I want virtual assistants. I want to be able to pick up this cell phone, that laptop, and go and be able to talk to Matt and Bill while I'm sitting in Europe somewhere in some coffee shop. And to your point about the promotions, and so my journey in that consulting firm, it was analyst, consultant, manager, senior manager, partner. Okay. Obviously, I was there for 25 years, so you would think I would make partner. When I got to 2012, which was 15 years in, they started asking me about entering the partner track, and I said no. So I retired in 2021. The last time I was promoted was 2013 because I kept turning down going into the partner track. And this goes back to the previous point of protecting time. Yeah. If I'm making 200 grand, 40 hours a week, why am I going to add another 30 hours for another 40 grand for a title? I was too busy hustling like Matt and Bill to go build a real estate portfolio on the outside, such that when I got to exit 46 on the career highway, meaning age 46, I got off the exit and just kept rolling because I built that infrastructure on the outside by protecting time, by not following the status quo definition of what success was. What success was for me was exactly what you articulated, Matt, which is time freedom, financial freedom, geographic freedom. And I'll add two more freedoms to it because I do this in my coaching. Freedom of purpose. I didn't go be a street cop for the money, trust me. And then freedom to build meaningful relationships. It's important. If we are sitting in the corporate office in the effing queue, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we do not have time to go connect with amazing people like Matt and Bill, or in my case, my business partner, and now starting to become my best friend, who I found out was doing real estate over in the Mediterranean. As soon as I found out, I built a relationship with him. So if I have 3 companies over in the Mediterranean now, I didn't do that on my own. It's because I built relationships and I created space in my life to build relationships with extraordinary people so I could go do extraordinary things. Yet we're told, nah, man, go focus on being partner. I don't want to be a partner. I want to go live a life. Right. So that's how it all has manifested for me. And my track does not resonate with everybody, and that's okay. I'm not interested in everybody else. I'm interested in what makes sense for me. We got 28,000 days to live in an average 80-year life. I got like 10,000 and change left if I make it. There's no time for any of that nonsense.
Dude, that's outstanding, man. I completely agree, Maurice. This is some great stuff that you're sharing here. And it comes down to you're obviously, from working 3 things at once, not afraid to put in the work.
No.
So it comes down to yeah, you block those times, but if you just block those times and don't do the work, you're not going to be successful. So how are
Yeah.
you able to manage blocking those times? And during your real estate time, like, how are you focusing on the right stuff all the time? Like, did that take a little getting used to, or like,
No.
what were you focusing on to build that up the way you did?
The freedom plan when it comes to finances that I espouse to like my coaching students, the number one step is in that plan is to know your why. I had a why.
Love it.
Probably an unhealthy and sometimes healthy obsession. There was no look when the fellas was going out. I had worked all week corporate and then struggled all week police stuff, and then have to deal with the wrath of the family for me not being around. And then the weekends would come and everybody's going out, and I'm like, man, I got to go paint.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to prove people wrong. It's funny, people think, oh, you just hustle, burn the, but no, my why was stronger than anything anybody could have presented to me at the time. So, and the why was that 47-year-old Maurice would be sitting here with Bill and Matt on a podcast and not in some corporate office right now because I did the work. I just didn't want to do any of that stuff, right? So I think having your why as a North Star, and my why was freedom, those 5 freedoms that we talked about, and the ability to access planet and life as intended and have experiences and connect with extraordinary people. That why in reflection was powerful because it made me do some outrageous shit. There was some times where I didn't sleep for 48, maybe 72 hours.
Wow.
Or when I was at the corporate office because I had patrolled the previous night and then came home for an hour and then went straight to court and then got on the T or the Metro here in DC, went straight to the corporate office, would have meetings at 11:30, go outside and sit in my friend's car and go to sleep. But nobody saw that.
No.
The why is a very powerful thing if you get it right.
Maurice, do you find that a lot of people come back to you from your Accenture days and say, hey, Maurice, listen, I didn't take the steps you took. I didn't take action on chasing after my why. What do I do today to start building that? Do you find that people are coming to you and asking those sort of questions, or are people just kind of like looking at you saying like, wow, he got lucky?
Oh, no, they know I didn't get lucky.
Nice.
I post too much now. they know I didn't get lucky. There are some people from that world who like, what did you do? And what I tell them was I wasn't chasing your version of success.
Mm-hmm.
Society's a powerful drug, man. 20 to 30 years of formal education and your neighbors, peers, coworkers, and even your family telling you what you are supposed to be will drive you to do shit like, I want to be a partner, even though you don't. It's a powerful freaking drug. So what I tell them, look, if that, whatever it is that you want to do now, define your why. All right. So I coach in lifestyle design. I help people design lifestyles, in my opinion, that they don't need vacation from. And that can be related to money. And most of the times it's not related to money. Look, if you want to be around the world and have geographic freedom, then why are you in the corporate office on K Street in DC? Why are you not leveraging the fact that post-COVID, there are millions of virtual jobs? Millions. Well, you know why they're doing that? Because they've climbed a mountain and they're afraid to come back down. They're humans. The societal definition of success has titles littered all over it. People will want to be an executive VP or vice president or something just to say they did it, when in reality they want to do pottery in Portugal. So go do it and put down other people's definition of what you are supposed to be. And that's why real estate is so powerful and money is so powerful. Economic empowerment is so powerful because it gives us an avenue to go be what we actually give a shit about, right? But let me add one more thing. You don't have to do real estate to do what us three are talking about. It's not about real estate. You can leverage the post-COVID environment, go after a virtual situation, organize your lifestyle with your family such that you're mobile or whatever it is that you want to do with your family. The point of real estate and assets in general is because at some point in life, you are not going to be able to make money the way you were making it. You're not physically going to be able to make money the way that you were making it, or your job is going to tell you you ain't making money here no more. So you better be ready. And the way you can get ready is by putting assets on your chessboard. And you can do it systematically over the years. You don't have to do 40, 45, 50 the way Bill has done it in the previous years. You don't have to do that. I know people who own 4 or 5 pieces of real estate and who are financially free and living their butts off in the US, in Mexico, in Thailand, in Bali. They're not following other people's definition of success, man. They're just following their own version of success and they're orienting towards it. So people can make change if they want, or just go the normal route. It's up to you.
100%. I always advise people. So one thing my family did this past year is, for the first time ever, my wife and I traveled the world constantly before kids. Then we had kids. It was like, oh, we can't travel anymore. We have kids and stuff. Got good corporate jobs, kind of stuck to that, like, 3 or 4 weeks of vacation time. But post-COVID, the world changed, right?
Yes, it did.
We were able to take our kids. We went 6 weeks to Barbados, hired a nanny, rented out our house, which was a little bit uncomfortable, people sleeping in your beds and stuff, but we were pretty comfortable being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And our definition of success was, hey, listen, we want to be doing adventurous things as a family and making memories that we're never going to get that time back, right?
No,
you know,
you're not going to get it back, man. And I feel like a broken record when I say this, but I'm going to say this because I've said it on a lot of podcasts and I posted about it before. I took the Gary Vaynerchuk challenge, which was to go volunteer in an old folks home, in a retirement home. And the one that I volunteered in was actually one of the ones that I used to patrol and respond to. There are more like fighting calls in retirement homes than people realize. But if you go there, if you go where people are in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s, okay, you spend time with them. What you start to realize is none of them are talking about the title, how much money they had, the place where they worked. They're all talking about the shit they didn't do.
Yeah.
The guy they didn't ask out, the girl they didn't ask out, the risk they didn't take. It's all regret. It's all regret. And the funny thing is, they know it, but they can't physically change it at that point in life. I don't, as a military dude, as a police officer, and as someone who for a period of time grew up in the inner city, I'm not afraid of a lot. Like, I've run into burglary calls knowing someone's in the house with a gun, and it's just what you do. Like, I'm not saying I'm Superman, but it's just part of what I became. There is only one thing that scares me, and it's regret. I don't want it. I don't want it near my family. I don't want any part of regret. So I encourage people, man, like, if there is something you want to do, put down other people's definition of what you are supposed to be. Forget the definition of success that school told you have to have this and etc. Stop that. Whatever it is for you, design your life around that. Leverage assets the way that we're talking about, or you've talked about on your show, Matt. Build something and go live, for crying out loud, man. I encourage it.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. I think it's great. And even just thinking back now, it's not the things that you did that you shouldn't have. It's everything that you didn't do that you wish. And that's just life. And if you don't take advantage of it, they keep stacking, and you don't want those regrets to stack. Because to your point, when you get to 70, 80, if you live to 90, like, those are what you think of.
You can't do it. And hence me being a 33-year-old rookie police officer. Hence me trying out for the NFL when I was age 21 and then having the audacity to go try out again when I was age 26. I didn't, first of all, them Bamas ran circles around me. I just it's like it was terrible. It was terrible. But at least I tried.
That's it.
At least I tried. So
So I left my corporate job in 2019, and the question, it was such a toss up between, do I leave, do I stay, do I leave, do I stay? And the question that I had to ask myself, and what propelled me to, was exactly that. When I'm 90, looking back on my life, am I going to regret the fact that I took a risk or not? And it was so that made the decision making so crystal clear for me. It was like, I have to do it. I have to leave. I have to go try, because I got nothing to lose. And I think that one of the things I always like to say is, don't go quit your job right away. Bill, myself, Maurice, we all side hustled our way towards something that enabled us to be financially free. We didn't
Yeah.
just get there. We didn't just quit our jobs. We didn't just say, hey, listen, we're just going to willy-nilly go try this thing out. No, the beauty of a side hustle is maybe you find out you don't like what you're doing. Maybe it wasn't all as cracked up to be. Maybe it is. But if you side hustle that, you start building up some assets, you start building up some ability to become financially free. Boom, next thing you know, you have options. You have options you never had.
That's it. And shameless plug. All that you just summarized eloquently, by the way, Matt, which is interesting for us Massachusetts dudes.
100%. Yeah.
All that you just summarized is what I call trying life on. The plug is go to trylifeon.com. Because what I figured out is that people are trying to figure out how to live life their way. Not my definition, your definition, Bill's definition, not that. It's that people have the ability to try life on whenever you would like to. Life is something to be practiced. If you want to live in a mobile sense, kind of the way you're talking about, Matt, with your family and traveling around with your kids, the first time you do it, it's challenging. It's probably going to be expensive. But the second time you do it, you get better at it. The third time you do it, you get real good at it. The fourth time you do it, when the parents, the neighbors, the coworkers, the peers are like, why are you traveling around with your family? It will sound like dead noise because you've been out there experiencing life in a manner that is befitting of your family and your goals. People can go try life on. People can practice being a real estate investor or try to get into it, or try life on by getting a virtual job, or try life on by going after a passion project. Go try life on. That's what I was trying to tell you at the beginning of this thing when people talk to me about real estate and they're like, oh, that's Maurice, the real estate investor. And I'm like, I hate that shit. Don't do that to me. That's not fair. I'm Maurice. I happen to do real estate. I happen to be I was a police officer. I was in the military. I'm an old Boston dude. I will always be a Patriots fan. You can label me with that one.
There we go.
But this stuff is just to enable life. That's why I like coming on shows like yours that's trying to express to people real estate, assets, money. It's great. But what it does is actually enable life the way that you want to live it. So that's why it's worth taking a shot at it, not having regret about it.
Let's pivot a little bit, because one thing I've heard you talk a lot about, Maurice, is taking your kids and involving your kids in your business and life and travels and so forth. Yep. And you're someone that I look up to in that regard, because I know you have a young son that you've been able to take to the Mediterranean, to take other places, despite schools and everything else and restrictions. Talk a little bit about, you know, the worldview that you want to show for your children.
Well, we live in the best country in the world. That's the first. I don't think another country could have given a Haitian kid as much opportunity as this country. So I'm very loyal to the US from that perspective, but you have to drive your own opportunity. Let me make that clear. But the environment will allow you to here if you really want to. But what I want them to understand is Dad is a global citizen. The military did Accenture, and then my own desire to experience cultures and immersing cultures around the world really did something wonderful for me, which was to expose me to different energies of people and different manners of living. 95% of the people out there live below what our relative poverty line is, but they are happy. They are happy because we're so materialistic here. We're so title driven. We are so like, what do you have driven? Now that stuff exists in other countries too. Don't get it twisted. But when you do go, you know what you get to do, and my kids are starting to they do understand this. We get to go out. We're not visiting somebody else's world. We're actually extending our own. And then you get to do what we did back in elementary school, which is be in the beginner's mindset, to learn something brand new. I mean, I love Boston, I love New York, I love DC, but I know everything about it. I'm not learning here. But if I go somewhere else, I get to be a beginner again, and you get to plug into Planet and learn about a culture, or how do you do work here, or what are the cultural norms here? What's the food like here? What's the wine like here? How did you start your business? That's my favorite. I love talking to entrepreneurs who are overseas. I was just with a friend of mine now who started a winery in Lebanon, I love his story because he left corporate life in France to go back to the northern part of the country to reclaim his dad's land post-Civil War, and he started a winery there. I learned more from that dude than any business school could ever teach me, ever. So with them, I think my oldest has been to 12 or 13 at this point. My youngest, I can't count. I think he's been to 8. And his mom is Canadian, so he's already international in a sense, right? He has 2 passports. They get it. They always like, where is the next place we are going to go at some point? And again, U.S. is the best country in the world from my perspective and for what it gave me, but I want them to see what is out there in the world. And yet I've been to 99 countries now, over 300 times. I don't want to see every country. That's not the point of that. The point of that is I just want to experience what the planet has to offer when it makes sense, but I do want to experience what the planet has to offer, and I'd like to extend that to them too.
Wow, that's amazing, man. I love, and that comes down to that, try life on.
Yeah.
And the more experiences you get, and you were just mentioning, a lot of people believe that money, you hear this all, money makes you happy, but the poorest people in these other country worlds are the happiest people you'll ever meet. And it's like, what is the trick? What is the key? And you have to experience that and find and grow it and expand it, and it's just amazing.
Money helps.
You need it.
It helps. Like it's not, money doesn't give you happiness, but it is close. It's close. Yeah. But in all seriousness, any wealth that I have, honestly, in reflection, comes from the experiences I've had and the relationships that I've built.
Yep.
That's where the wealth comes in. Money tends to be a byproduct of you starting to do good stuff. Just before I was jumped on this call with you guys, I was on the phone with a family office. And the guy who runs this particular I can't say who the name. The guy who runs this particular family office, he runs it on behalf of an ownership crew for an NFL team. Okay, so there's a lot of money here. But this man, just in speaking with him, I was just dumbfounded by his giving nature. And all I could think about, I wasn't thinking about the money, what the business we could do together. I was like, oh my God, I can learn from this guy. I want to learn. I want to be in this man's proximity, because what he's doing to get 7, 8, 9 figures to community, I want to do that before I pass away.
Yeah.
I want to do that before I pass away. So I have this notion of a foundation, and I kind of started it where I would raise money from people and use part of my own funds. And I would go door to door when I was in the Mideast. And I would do what family can I go to their door, give them money, and that money changes their decade in less than 10 seconds. How do I do that? That's everything from like paying for someone's cancer surgery to, there was a autistic kid and we paid for, so my oldest is autistic, so I'm very sensitive to it. But imagine being autistic in a country that has no resources. So we paid for a one-on-one teacher to be with him for 2 years, right? That changed their decade in a couple seconds. But I'm doing it at a micro level. This dude's doing it at a macro level. I want that.
Yeah.
Relationships get you that, right? People are looking at wealth the wrong way. It's relationships, people, experiences. It's not just money.
So, oh God, so many good things are coming to my mind right now. So some of my mentors, people that I look up to, business leaders, they're the most giving people that I know. One of the guys that comes to mind sold his business for tens of millions of dollars, did really, really well for himself, and is just focused on ways to give back. One of the ways he's been giving back for the last 10 years is through micro lending. I got to go into some of the poorest slums in Kenya and meet people where they were given $5 and said, you have to repay this. It wasn't about the repayment. It was about teaching money skills. You have to repay this. Go start a business. We'll give you business skills. And that changed not only that family, their kids' families, and so forth. And that started to change the community. These are some of the largest slums in the world that are now starting businesses, becoming entrepreneurial, and changing lives. Another way they're doing it is through a more technological thing. They're buying shipping containers. Technology has enabled these to have internet basically anywhere with Starlink and stuff like that. They're taking shipping containers, outfitting 5 or 6 different computer setups in there, and shipping them to Haiti, where they're able to connect to Starlink and have a call center, a Microsoft call center in a small village, change the lives of people.
See?
Right? Huge opportunity to give back, to change people's lives. And this is when you could free up, if you have a little bit of capital behind you, you have a little bit of time, you have some geographic freedom, you could do some really cool shit. There's so much out there that if you just commit to moving forward, figuring out life, you can change people's destinies. And that's probably more rewarding than any sort of dollar value you could get.
That thing I was telling you about in the Mideast, it was Lebanon, but I went to, I did it in Turkey too, but I went to door to door Christmas time frame, and there was a family, and the priest in the family is from a village, and he would identify these families that we could help. And it was wonderful to give them money, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 in certain cases. But you know, the interesting thing is I was selfish in that I wanted to stay, and I am still very connected to the people that I helped in that respect. And because those relationships, they don't know it, but those relationships give more to me than my money will ever give to them. So when Christian is the one person I'll talk about. How old is Christian now? Christian's 8. That's that young boy who we gave him the teacher. And every time I see him, he knows me now. And every time I see him, the way that his family's from Armenia, okay? But the way that his family greets me, and we have lunch together and we talk, and they follow me on Instagram, and it's just the joy that I personally get from it. I selfishly want to be connected to these people the rest of my life. That's what they give me. The other thing I just want to tell you real quick is, if you have this brother from Boston and New York showing up on your doorstep 8,000 miles away on Christmas, the hope that they felt from a random person showing up versus the money. It wasn't the money. It was, why would God or the universe or whatever you want to call it send this person to do this? That has power in humanity more than people will ever understand. Anyways, I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but what I'm suggesting is you can really give back, like all this stuff that we do in real estate and da-da-da. Yeah, but once you get your financial freedom, once you're in a position where you can help other people, go help other people, because it pays you. Now, remember I was talking about the why? Now, what you think I'm doing with Quattro Capital, trying to get 7, 8, 9 figures? It's not because I want it, but it's not because I need to pay a bill. It's because I got goals in the future. Outside of me creating legacy for my own kids and my own family, I got goals related to how I do something big. I don't know. I don't even know what it's going to be, but it's going to be big. I have that kind of why at this point.
I love it. That's huge.
Yeah. It's that whole the go-giver mentality, right? Give more than you take, and it pays you back tenfold.
I hope so. I hope it does pay back tenfold. And
definitely sounds like it is.
No, I mean, on a personal level, it is. And I have adopted, here, I'll tell you, I have adopted what do you want out of life? When people ask me that shit, and I'll tell them, I just want people to be very bothered when I die.
Yeah. Very
bothered. Not like crying and all that. I just want them to be like, remember that Mo, man, shit, Mo, he was a good dude. That was a good dude. I remember when he came and dragged this burglar out of my house. Or I remember when he stopped by the business, and there's this dude, Mustafa, who I would always drink coffee with at 7-Eleven at 2:30 in the morning and stuff. I remember when he donated blank, or I remember when he mentored me to blank. And that's not a pious thing. That's like you got to have purpose to get up. You want to be Scrooge and put all your money in the bank and just sit in the house? Okay. Or you can go do something good with it. If people are bothered by me passing, then that means I did something good. And I'm okay with that.
That's deep. I
Yeah,
love it.
I didn't mean it to. It's a good way to think, though.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on the Money Tree Show today. This has been, honestly, I got goosebumps right now. It's been amazing. Sharing your journey, sharing your why, sharing your time. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for joining as well. Appreciate you.
Bill.
Of course. No, thank you, Maurice. I appreciate you. And this is amazing. This is mind blown right now. This is amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. And Matt, thank you for what you're doing for people, man. People need outlets like this so they don't, they can follow their own course, and you're putting good information out. So it was a pleasure to come on.
Thanks, man. This is a passion project too.
No doubt.
Thank you for listening to The Money Tree Show. We hope to inspire you to achieve financial freedom. To see a sample real estate deal, head over to www.themoneytreeshow.com.